As part of this 1930s renovation project, we want a bathroom floor in here that's going to be very low maintenance, 100% waterproof, and hopefully something that will last for years and years. Oh yeah. So we have gone for this Firmfit. It's like a rigid core SPC type flooring, I think, similar to LVT. But apparently it's 100% waterproof. It's very thin, very hard wearing. It kind of clicks together. I've never fitted it in my life, but like everything in life, we're just gonna kind of bumble our way through it. So this is a tiny little bathroom. It's only 1.9 square meters of flooring, so like one pack of flooring should be enough to do all of this, but as I say, I've never fitted this before, so I've got no clue what I'm doing. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to roughly put the bath in place to work out where the flooring needs to come up to, and then I'm going to get the bath out the road, I think, he says. So the bath feet should end up pretty much there. And I've marked the other one as well. And then obviously the bath panel's going to come down kind of here-ish, but we want the bath panel to sit on top of the flooring, so we want it to overrun a little bit in that direction. We want it to end somewhere between there and, well, I would say at least there. So now that that's marked out, I'm going to get the bath out the road and we'll get on with putting the floor down. So because we weren't 100% sure whether or not we were going to tile this floor or what sort of flooring we're going to be putting down, I've already put some 6mm ply over, and this is screwed on roughly 200 centres or thereabouts. So we've got a really nice stable flat sub base to put the flooring on. I would suggest that's probably a good starting point. Again, I'm not 100% because I've never fitted it before. Anyway, I need to kind of get the floor all cleaned up, hoovered, so it's immaculate. What I'm also going to do, because it's really quite critical on this type of flooring, that there's nothing kind of sticking up or anything like that, so I've just got a big scraper, and I'm just going to go around and just check there's no, like, there's a little lump of paint there. I mean, that shouldn't matter, but it's more like big lumps that I might not have noticed. So I'm just going to go all the way around and check. Now, one other consideration here. Normally your door threshold goes directly underneath the door. So if you imagine the door will be here, then the threshold will go across here. So at the moment, I've got the hardboard cut exactly on the middle of where the door threshold is going to go. Now, the only trouble is, sometimes the fixings for the threshold will be in the middle, sometimes they'll be slightly off to the left or the right, and I haven't bought the threshold yet, which is probably a bit of a mistake. So I don't know where the floor needs to end. So that's just going to be a bridge I'm going to have to kind of cross and resolve that problem when I get to it. Worst case, I think I can probably use a multi-tool to trim a bit off the edge of this if I need to. But it would be better to have the threshold ready so I could work out exactly where the floor needs to end relative to the threshold. So then I'm just going to roughly lay out the flooring just to get a gauge of where things are going to end up. Obviously I've got various cutouts and things for pipes and stuff, so I'll be doing that in a minute. Do not click the flooring together at this stage because it's a little bit of a pain in the neck to get apart. And by the way, I'm doing this with the tongue facing towards me and to the right, if that makes sense. So we're going to end up kind of like that. We want this to be vaguely parallel to the wall, which I will work out. But I do vaguely remember reading that your cut-off end, normally you would just put that at the start of your next row to create kind of a random pattern. I'm in two minds with this, with it being kind of a tile effect. Really, you shouldn't have a random staggered pattern. You should have your grout lines lining up on every alternate row, but this doesn't really have grout lines. Once it's all clicked together, you can barely see the joint. So I think we are going to just go for a random staggered pattern, and that'll just cut down on wastage. But the other thing that I seem to remember reading is that your starting row should be at least 30 centimetres of tile. Now the leftover bit from here is going to be closer to 20 centimetres. But on the basis that this is such a small bathroom, I'm not going to waste 20 centimetres off every second row for no good reason. I mean, at the end of the day, this is going to be kind of hidden away, probably under boxing and all sorts right at the corner there. So I think it'll be fine. But it's just something to bear in mind. I think ideally your starting row should be at least 30 centimetres. But yeah, I'm going to take the gamble on that. Anyway, the other thing I want to check is how many tiles it's going to go in that direction. And are we going to hit lucky, or are we going to end up with some weird awkward cut? So if we're starting from about there, I'm just going to roughly, these ones I can click together, so you'll see what I mean. That it's very hard to see the joint. That's just very similar to how you do laminate, basically. Oh, you know what it is? Oh, we're hitting lucky here, like. So this should work out pretty much perfect. There's our mark that we made for the bath leg, and we're just coming right next to it. That's absolutely perfect. And that'll run nicely under the edge of the bath panel, which is exactly what we want. Oh, and by the way, this hardboard, we have primed it on the basis that we thought we might be tiling it. I do think it's probably a good idea to prime the floor, just so that if any dampness does get through, that it doesn't swell or anything like that. But hopefully with this type of flooring, no dampness will get through. That's the whole idea of it, but I guess we'll report back on that. So, I think we're at the stage where we need to make a start, and the first thing that I'm going to have to do is an awkward little cutout for the pipes in the corner there, and then we've also got these awkward little cuts for the radiator as well. Now, just a little note about going around pipes. What they suggest you do, let me just take this one out. What they suggest you do is, if you were laying the boards this way, you would basically drill a hole in the correct place, cut across, and then insert the cut piece from the back and put a bit of glue between them. But if you're doing it lengthways like this, that's not really possible. So I think the only thing I can do is to do a little cutout with a jigsaw, similar to what I've done on the backing board there, and then insert it at the back. I can't think of any other way of doing it, really. I guess we'll see when we get to that bit. Oh, and on a similar note, there's very little information about how you actually cut these, other than scoring it with a Stanley knife and just snapping it. So obviously that's not going to do the job for pipe cutouts. So I'm going to be just using a jigsaw, but with a metal cutting blade in it, and I'm hoping that's going to cut it without damaging it. So yeah, I guess this can be our starting tile. You're supposed to leave an 8mm gap all the way around, but again, in a bathroom like this, there's going to be boxing everywhere anyway, so I don't need to be too fussy about that. Now, on the basis that I've never worked with this stuff before, you're about to see a grown man cry if this doesn't work out. Bit of wood underneath. Let's see how this drills. I've just got a relatively sharp HSS bit, so I just need to cut a couple of little holes and then hopefully jigsaw the rest out. Oh well, drills easily enough. Yeah, bites a bit as it goes in, so just be careful. I'm just going to try cutting it with a handsaw at first, and we'll just see what that's like. Oh, that's easy. I'm a little bit cack-handed here because of where the camera is. Get out. Okie dokie. Right, let's try the old Stanley knife trick then. Do be careful. yeah. That's alright. That's nae bad for me first ever cut. I'm sure I'll get better at it over time. Let's get this first bit in. Did I mention this stuff has the underlay built in, by the way? Oh, and if you hadn't already guessed, it is laid as a floating floor, this. You don't put any glue down or anything like that with this particular type, but obviously check the instructions on the stuff that you're using. Right, so more cutouts. This is going to be a row of cutouts, which is a bit annoying, but what can you do? That should be good. Right, I'm going to get all these cuts done because they're going to be so boring for you to watch, and then I'll come back to you. Right, I'm up to my first proper cut, which is a little bit scary. I did the cutout for that radiator pipe in exactly the same way that I did the top pipe. Although I did try a Forstner bit this time, and the Forstner bit worked really, really well, gave a really clean cut. So yeah, seems quite forgiving in that respect. Anyway, right, let's try this. If I knock this up, I have literally 0 spare tiles, so... It's got to be enough, surely. Okay. So it's a bit like cutting plasterboard, only slightly more stressful. So, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to undercut the architrave with the multi-tool, and then all I did need to do is take a little corner off for the door frame. I'll go for that. So I need to take that corner out. Oh, isn't that just the nicest noise? Can I get this out? Please fit, please fit. Yeah, I think that'll go. I just need to work out this pipe cut out now. Yeah. So basically, I'll just carry that measurement across to there. Same as before, take that little knockout out and then try that. Please fit, please fit, please fit. Ooh yeah. So, on the basis that we don't want like an ugly little kind of hole here, I'm just going to undercut a tiny bit of the bottom of the door frame just here, and then that bit can kind of slide under, and hopefully that little hole will just disappear, if you can see the little hole. Oh yeah. So we are at the very exciting stage where we can start clipping these together. Now normally you would just give this a tap with a rubber mallet along that edge, but on the basis that I really don't want to knock up this first edge, I'm going to slide them together. So if you slide it, be very careful you don't damage the tongue and groove. It should slide really easily like that. You see, if it's not sliding easily, you're not properly in the tongue and groove. And by the way, that's also how you take it apart, in case you hadn't guessed. It's not like laminate where you can just flip it up. You'll damage the edge. You can flip it up on the long edge, but apparently you can't do that on the short edge. Or you can, but you have to be really careful. Wipe that pencil mark off. Oh yeah, that's all right, isn't it? Cool. Right, and I'm just going to use this as the start for the next row. We'll try the hammer technique on this. So this one I'm going to just hook in. So again, just double check that there's no rubbish has appeared, because rubbish just appears from nowhere, you know. So should go like that, and then should just tap that edge down. You certainly have to be firm with it. So same on the next one. Well, that wasn't too bad for my first attempt. If I hadn't been filming it, I would have had that done in about, what, an hour? Maybe 2 hours at a push. Obviously a little bit fiddly around the radiator and things, but once that glue's gone off, I don't think you'll even notice it. Obviously there's pipe covers going on and all sorts of other things. You're getting to see a bathroom that is nowhere near finished. So if you do want to see the finished bathroom, do hit subscribe. But yeah, not too bad. I'm gonna get the threshold for here sooner rather than later, because obviously that's a pretty vulnerable edge at the minute. If I accidentally trip over it or something, then that's gonna cause problems. Oh, and this side, it was impossible to get the flooring underneath the undercut. You may have already noticed. Basically, I was hoping that once the board was down, you could kind of slide it into place, but you can't. You can slide it in that direction, but you can't slide it in that direction once the board is actually down. So yeah, bit of a learning curve. I mean, I don't know how you would ever replace like an individual tile without taking the whole floor up. I don't think you could, because you would have to work back from this edge. So to lift this up, you'd have to lift it all up in one go and then work backwards, unless anyone's more familiar with working with this and maybe they know a way of doing it. But you know, that actually worked out pretty good, and we'll see how it goes. I will report back and I'll let you know if we run into any problems with it, but it seems really hard wearing and yeah, hopefully totally waterproof. Oh, and by the way, going for the random staggered pattern, it's absolutely fine. You really can't tell. I think that looks great like that, to be honest. So yeah, all good. Some quick technical and pricing information. Although this is an LVT SPC type of product, this particular range gets referred to as encaustic tiles. The packaging also refers to rigid core tiles, so it all gets a bit confusing. We went for the Firmfit LT2461 finish. Apparently it's 100% waterproof, has a lifetime domestic warranty and a 15-year commercial warranty. The brochure suggests it has a bevel on all 4 edges, but I can confirm it doesn't. This variant is completely flat, but they do make other versions with beveled edges if that's what you're after. We just needed a single pack of flooring for this tiny bathroom, and that cost around £84 from Doors and Floors Direct in Blaydon. I've used them many times over the years and they've always been spot on, so more than happy to give them a free shout out. And once again, I do not make sponsored videos on this channel. If I find a product or company I like, I'm more than happy to give you my honest opinion without turning literally everything into an advert. Here's the tools I used if you want to take a quick screen grab or whatever, and I used a little panel saw. I never ended up using the little junior hacksaw, but I had it there just in case. Obviously I had the drill as well, and as I say, it drilled really easily with both a normal HSS bit and a Forstner bit. Worked absolutely fine with it. I reckon you could cut this with just about anything. You could probably cut it with a multi-tool, to be honest, and yeah, you'd be fine. Oh, and obviously I had my little Stanley knife as well for doing the main kind of straight cuts. So there you go folks, my first experience of laying this type of flooring. And that just leaves me to say one more thing. As per usual folks, look after one another, be nice to each other. We shall see you next time. Tatty bye.